Anybody hear me? Can't hear anybody.
Duncan, everything's on mute at the moment.
Oh, right, okay.
So, yeah, David's just sorting out the video feed for YouTube.
You couldn't hear me, you could...
I can hear you, see you, and everything. It's just that everyone's been muted by Democratic Services.
Oh, right, okay. I'm having to use my phone.
Okay. Good luck.
I'll leave that.
Is that you, David?
Right, councillors and officers, I believe we are good to start.
Okay.
So if you get a little box asking you whether you're okay, just click accept. Yeah.
All of us?
Yeah.
It says, what, continue, it says.
Yeah, continue.
All of us got to press that, have we?
Yeah.
Reading that to me.
Yep, we're ready to go whenever you are.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, councillors and members of the public. Thanks very much for tuning in tonight. Before we start the meeting, could you please give special attention to the Reverend Helen Wakefield Carr, who has some words for us.
Thank you, Kelly. Back in the summer of 2019, Kelly held her civic service at Toller Church, focusing on the theme around her charity, which she's supported this year, the British Heart Foundation. The year hasn't gone as she would have planned. Lockdown, social distancing and COVID-19 has all got in the way of her carrying out the duties in the same way that she would have liked. But all that we have done as a community, as a council, and her as a mayor has been for the good of all people. Our actions to protect others have come from the heart, and I hope that will be long remembered in years to come, particularly with her theme of the heart. I want to share some words with you from the Old Testament of the Bible, from the book of Proverbs. From Proverbs 3 verses 1 to 4. My child, don't forget what I teach you. Always remember what I tell you to do. My teachings will give you a long and prosperous life. Never let go of loyalty and faithfulness. Tie them around your neck. Write them on your heart. If you do this, both God and people will be pleased with you. Loyalty and faithfulness, it says, write them on your heart. Thank you, Kelly, for reminding us of this over the past year. As the passage says, if you do this, God will be pleased, but so will the people. I hope your work, your charity and your commitment to this mayoral year has pleased many. And long may the work that continues be of a help to our community. So let us pray. Dear God, we praise you for this event, for gathering us and for your purpose for it. We know that when we gather together, you always have a divine agenda. We love you for that, O Lord. That even when we have done what you have asked, the results are so much greater than we could have ever imagined. Even in failed attempts, you blow us away with your faithfulness to provide what we need. May your will be done through this event. Take what has been prepared and multiply our efforts as only you can. Steer our attentions to align with you and remind us of your faithful provision. In your name we pray, O God. Amen.
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 Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Helen. We can always count on you for some really wise words. Much appreciated. Right, I've now got a bit of small print to read. Just to let you know that this is the annual meeting, the virtual annual meeting of Kettering Borough Council. We'd like to ask all of you tuning in tonight to be extra patient. We're still getting used to all of this technology. And if the connection is lost, we will stop the meeting and see if we can restore the connection within good time, and then we will carry on. The speakers will be introduced by their names prior to them speaking. And the mayor will be introducing each item with its full title as it appears on the agenda. And when it comes to voting, the councillors will vote using their little hand-raising hand on the Zoom page. We've had a little practice, so hopefully that'll all go well. The committee administrator, who tonight is Ann Ireson, will then read out the results of the vote, and the mayor will state the decision that is reached after the vote is taken. We can start the meeting now, and I'd like to hand over to Anne, please, who will do a register of those present.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What I'm proposing to do is, as people have been arriving in the meeting, I've taken a note of their names. I'm going to read out the register now, and if it's wrong, can somebody please shout out? So I have in the Zoom meeting Councillor Adams, Councillor Bain, and Councillors Mike Brown, Bunday, Councillor Burton, Councillor Currell, Councillors David, Deering, Dutton, Don, Edwards, French, Groom, Henson, Hollowbone, Howes, Jelly, Lee, Morton, Marks, Mitchell, O'Hara, Roberts, Rowley, Scrimshaw, Stanton, Talbot, Tebbot, Thurland, Titcombe, Watts and West. Officers in attendance are myself, Ann Ireson from Democratic Services, David Pope, who is acting as our committee manager tonight, Graham Soulsby, Managing Director, Lisa Hyde and Martin Hammond, Executive Directors. We also have Reverend David Walsh, Reverend Helen Wakefield Carr, and Mrs. Lorraine Burton and Mrs. Carol Bain. If there's anyone else, if there's anyone I've missed off, please could you say now?
No? Okay. Anne, would you like to read the apologies, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we've received apologies from Councillors James Hakewill and Councillor Sedwin Brown.
And I assume there are no others because that's everyone present and accounted for.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, councillors, the minutes of the meeting held 26th of February, that seems a long time ago, need to be approved and signed. Rather than ask to approve them, I'm just going to ask if anybody's got any issues they wish to bring. Otherwise, I will assume approval. That's a no. Okay, good. We will sign those minutes then as accurate. Right, thank you very much. I'd like to start off by talking about the deputy mayor who's sitting to my right. James, I'd like to pay tribute to both you and Lorraine for a job well done as deputy mayor this year. You know, I think every mayor sets out to do absolutely all they can themselves, but inevitably double bookings and what have you do occur. And I very much feel that if I was invited to an event and I wasn't able to go to that event, it was always very comforting for me to know that you would go in my place, you and Lorraine. Not only are you two very reliable people, but a pair of very safe hands. And that was a big comfort to me to know that the events were being covered in such a professional way. So I'd like to thank you for your support this year. And I would like to be maybe the first one to say, I hope you have a spanking year ahead. And congratulations on your appointment when we get to that point on the agenda. So thank you both very much for your support this year.
It's our pleasure.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
we may wish to do declarations of interest.
Ayes. Does anybody have any declarations of interest at all? Okay, I assume that is a no. All right then, folks. The next item on the agenda is the first business of the new municipal year, which is the election of mayor for the 6-month period between now and the end of March 2021. And I'd like to call upon Councillor Margaret Talbot, please.
Councillor Talbot, you may need to unmute yourself. Bottom left of the screen. There we go.
Right, yes, I've unmuted. Well, I've been asked to thank Kelly very much for representing Kettering Borough Council as Mayor for 2019-2020. Obviously, the Reverend Helen Carr has already said some very, a lot of what I was going to say, but I should like to add that Kelly was a previous mayor, so she's had previous mayoral experience. And this time she organised many varied fundraising events for her charity, British Heart Foundation. In March this year, life for all of us changed. And today I'm thanking the Mayor on Zoom in September. Madam Mayor, on behalf of councillors and the residents of Kettering Borough, thank you for all your mayoral duties in the council chamber, keeping us all to the agenda. Then organising your charity events, attending all your social engagements as Mayor of the Borough, and I do hope you enjoyed your mayoral year in spite of what was changed this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Talbot. I'd like to call on Councillor Anne Lee now, please.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I really would like to second that vote of thanks. You will be remembered for many things. I mean, you've organized so many events. There's the quiz, chocolate tasting, the gin event, the tapas evening, and that actually, that reminded me to just remember your unusual use of beautiful locations, also as the jazz concert in the library. That was wonderful. Your tapas event in the cafe block was one of my personal highlights, actually. And your Women's Day in the Toller Church meeting room was also unforgettable. I remember you being in the Rockingham Road Park and welcoming all the floats as they arrived at the carnival, the 2019 carnival, which was fantastic. Your Facebook post for the carnival in 2019 had 16,000 views. And that brings me to the groundbreaking thing you did in creating a Facebook page for the Mayor of Kettering. It's an informative, very professional Facebook page for your activities with stunning photographs, a real visual history of your year, of the places and people in Kettering. And that so many more people have learned about your activities and the role of a mayor in Kettering thanks to that page. It's got more than 1,000 followers, which is just incredible. It's wonderful. So that page really celebrates all that's good and great in Kettering Borough. So thank you, Kelly. You really are a force for the good, and you've been a fantastic mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lee. Right, well, I'd like to thank both Margaret and Anne for their very, very kind words. Very much appreciated. I better point out very quickly that Scott had a Facebook page when he was mayor. So I was following on from that. I'm going to do some thank yous now, but the very first thing I want to do right off is to say a huge thank you on behalf of every single one of us in the borough of Kettering to all of the key workers who have kept us healthy and functioning over the last few months. So the doctors, the nurses, the police, the fire service, the technicians, the hospital volunteers, the paramedics, the ambulance drivers, the delivery drivers, the shop workers. And the problem with starting a list like that is you sometimes leave people out. But I don't want to leave anybody out of all of those people who've been working so hard to keep us going over this period of time, and will continue to do so. I also want to thank Professor Sarah Gilbert. She's part of the, heading up actually, the vaccine team at Oxford. Yes, they've had a little bit of a setback today, but that's part of testing a vaccine. And I know it won't stop the good work that Sarah's been heading up. And probably all of you know that Sarah is actually a Kettering girl. She went to Park Road School and then on to Kettering High School when it was down at the Southfield site that it is today. I I do hope that when all of this is over, and Sarah's played a big part in this, the vaccine, that we do something to recognize her here in Kettering, and I look forward to seeing whatever that might be. I've written to Professor Gilbert on all of our behalves to wish her good luck and Godspeed, and let the minutes show that we've acknowledged and thanked all of these people tonight by talking about them at this meeting. I also want to thank the officers of the council during this tough time, whether it be collecting the extra fly tipping that seems to have appeared overnight, expediting various grants and loans to businesses, supporting all the charities and the people in the voluntary sector, or helping the homeless far quicker, by the way, than the government mandated. The officers have been responsive and sensitive to these issues that have risen because of COVID, and we must thank them for that. And not forgetting that in the depths of the worry and the fear and the uncertainty over the last few months, haven't we had the most glorious floral displays? And I'm sure that all of you councillors, like I have had so many residents who have commented on the cheeriness that these flowers have brought to us. So well done to everybody in the council for really, really being strong during the last few months. Well, as for my term of office, we've already heard it has fizzled out with a whimper from mid-March. And of course, I was really disappointed about that. But you know, it wasn't just my disappointment. I was really disappointed for the groups and organizations that had all of their events canceled and disappear. And you know, so many of those were fundraisers, and those fundraisers, they would have been really important to sustaining the groups and organizations. So, you know, it's not just my disappointment, but so many people's disappointment. And it does appear to endure now. However, the events that I did attend were, of course, wonderful. And I make no apologies for saying yet again how proud and impressed I am constantly with the talent and dedication of people of this borough. Well, it's been great working with British Heart Foundation, and I do hope that members and guests who have come along to some of the fundraisers that I've organized this year have learned about the Heart Foundation and the fact that it's really more than hearts. It's circulatory and respiratory, and includes everything from air pollution to water pollution to all sorts of things. So I'm very pleased that the money that I've raised will help them to carry on their hard work. I'd like to be able to tell you how much that was, but because we finished the way we have, we literally haven't added up the totals. So I do promise that I will report back to you probably at the next council meeting what that sum finally was. I've got a few more thank yous. Some have already been mentioned, but I'm going to carry on regardless. And I've thanked a lot of people over the last 10 days on my Facebook page as well. But I do want to mention first and foremost you councillors, because it was you councillors that gave me the opportunity to serve, and for that I'm very grateful. I'd like to thank the officers of the council as well, who've been very supportive to me and to the office generally. Thanks to Martin, Lewis, and Greg Harwood, who got me places in good shape and on time all year, which is quite a feat. I'd like to say thank you to my Merrill cadet, Kira Jones, who came to me from the Sea Cadets in Kettering. I'd like to say thank you again to the wise and wonderful Helen Wakefield Carr, who always keeps me on the straight and narrow, always chooses her words carefully and wisely, and also for her truly amazing help for the civic service and the Holocaust Memorial Day service, both of which are, you know, they take a lot of time and effort to oopsie, what's happened? Shall I get rid of that?
Yep. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thanks, Helen, for your help with those two services in particular. I'd like to thank my friend Sarah Frankham. Sarah has really been helpful on helping me with my social media platform. I couldn't have done it without her, and also accompanied me to so many events over the year. I'd like to thank my best friend and soulmate, Kirsty Woods, for standing by me all year, and my two daughters for their kindness and moral support. Well, as for me, I've now got plenty of babysitting that I've got to make up for, as I haven't been available for some time, and I'm looking forward to that. And also, like everybody, looking forward to trying to get back to the new normal. back to our lives more like we're used to. Never forgetting the words that Roy Bailey said. The only measure of your words and your deeds is the love you leave behind when you're done. I'd like to call for the nomination, the election of mayor. And I will call Councillor Thurland.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I too would like to say thank you for the quiz night, because I think we had some excellent brain power that night, didn't we, in the room?
That's because you won, Councillor.
Yeah, thank you. And I was only part of the team though. Madam Mayor, it's a little deja vu tonight from those long lost carefree days of May 2018. Little did we know then what life would deal us going forward. And apart from him being a little older, and I'm not going to say a little wiser, the reasons for my nomination of Councillor James Burton again as the next and sadly last mayor of Kettering Borough have remained the same, exactly the same as last time. Now, I do have my speech here from 2018. If anybody would like to hear it, I'm open to requests, but I can't hear any. But his next reign as mayor, I fear, will be much different from the last time. However, I know he will do his utmost with the help of Lorraine, definitely with the help of Lorraine behind him, to make us proud during our last few months of tenure. So it's just left for me to say, James, welcome back, and we've missed you.
Thank you, Councillor Thurland. Right, James, this is the moment of truth. Are there any other nominations? I can't see any hands up, but then I can't see any hands either. So I assume that is a no. I'd now like the council, please.
Madam Mayor, we
Yep.
might need a seconder.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Groom.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
We can.
Yeah, good. Yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm very honoured to be able to second Councillor James Burton for mayor for the next year. Sadly, probably rather less than a year, but I think that being the last ever mayor of the borough in some respects could be a very sad job. But I think if anybody can make it positive, make a success of it, I think James and Lorraine really can, because they have a real compassion for others, and they also have a real love of the heritage of the area. And I think a real love of the heritage is very important. I would like to share with you, in seconding Councillor Burton, a personal story. I have a goddaughter called Victoria who has special needs. And last year, while James was mayor, towards the end of his year, she came down from Peterborough to Kettering on the bus, which for her was a big thing to do. And she knew that I had been mayor, and she asked if she could meet the current mayor. And I said, well, actually, I might be able to pull that off. And thanks to James and Lorraine, they did meet her in the parlour and were very nice to her, even had their picture taken with her. And I would just like to tell you, James and Lorraine, that Victoria still asks about you, and she still says how kind you were to her. So that is something I think you gave Victoria, a day that she won't forget in a hurry. And so I was always deeply touched and very grateful for that. And I think the fact that you were so kind to Victoria on the day says everything about both of you, about your warmth and your compassion and your kindness. And it's because of that that I feel enthusiastic about seconding you. I feel very enthusiastic, Madam Mayor, about seconding Councillor James Burton as mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Groom. All right, James. Right. There being a proposal and there being a seconder and there being no further nominations, I'd like to ask the council, please, to elect Councillor Burton as mayor.
Anne?
Yes, If you could just raise your blue hand, and then I'll count them up. If you agree to elect Councillor James Burton as Mayor for the period September 2020 to 31st March 2021, and I'll count them up.
What blue hand? I understand. Okay.
I think Councillor Marks and Councillor Talbot are for as well, Anne.
Right, okay.
Oh, I'm for.
And Kelly.
David, sorry, where is it? All I can see is the
You've
raised
already-
hand.
You've already got your hand raised, Councillor.
I know. Is that it? You said blue. It's yellow.
No.
Blue here.
Right, I see some people are actually raising their hand. 20.
You might have been better off asking Anne if anyone's against or abstaining.
Yeah, I've only got 19 hands raised at the moment.
Going home then.
Indicate if there is anyone against electing Councillor James Burton as Mayor. No, so that is unanimous, Madam Mayor.
Anne, Councillor Don, were you planning on abstaining? I can see you. Yes, I think
Yeah.
Councillor Don is abstaining, Anne.
Okay, I just can't see everybody all at once, that's all.
I'm very happy to hand over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Oh dear. Thank you, ex-mayoress.
Former mayor.
Former mayor, yes, indeed. Thank you very much indeed. I understand item 12 is next on the agenda, which I am going to read and sign the declaration of acceptance, which I have before me, ladies and gentlemen. I, James Burton, accept my election as Mayor of the Borough of Kettering and promise that I will carry out my duties to the best of my judgment and ability. I'm about to sign them with a very important pen. I'm holding that up to show you. And apparently, the Managing Director might have something to say.
Yeah, I can confirm. I've just watched you sign that, Mr. Mayor, and I will countersign it after the meeting.
Thank you, Managing Director. You know, fellow councillors, I've got so many bits of paper in front of me, I'm not sure which one I'm going to start with. But here we go. Fellow councillors, officers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm hugely honoured and humbled once again to become the Mayor of the Borough of Kettering. I'm also incredibly proud to once again have my wife, my rock, Lorraine, as my Mayoress. As your final Borough Mayor, I will endeavour to lead this council through these unprecedented times. Together can we thank the heroes of our National Health Service and all our frontline key workers who have been working so hard to keep us all safe. That's going to be reiterated several times this evening. Our chosen charity for our condensed year is the Twinkling Star Appeal at the Kettering General Hospital. May I take this opportunity to thank Councillor Watts on her difficult mayoral year and thank her for a gift that she sent to us yesterday of a rose called Thank You. And isn't it ironic that one of the buds actually opened up this evening into a wonderful flower. Thank you, Councillor. I shall treasure that forever. Fellow councillors, I would like now to reciprocate by giving Councillor Watts a small token, which I hope will unfortunately remind her of her turbulent term in office. May I show you what this says? I can't read it backwards. Pink isn't just a colour, it's an attitude. And that is a gift from Lorraine and I to you, and hopefully you will pop that on your wall and think of us and your term in office. When you ever,
Thank you so much, James. That's
your-
lovely.
I don't know
And
why.
Lorraine.
I don't know why I chose it, but I just thought that was you.
It's lovely. Thank you.
Fellow councillors, I think it's important that we carry on social distancing and wearing face coverings. And on that note, I would like to show you the mask the Mayoress and I will be wearing in our term of office. The Mayoress has got one of these as well, which tells you I'm the Mayor of Kettering, so people won't have to keep asking who I am. And I shall be social distancing and wearing those at all of events that I go to. Councillor Stanton, can I thank you for joining this Zoom meeting? And I understand from the Mayoress that you have moved house. I'm sure all of us wish you well in your new home. Now, this has already been mentioned by the past mayor already, but I think it's well worth mentioning again. If there's one thing that has kept me personally sane, it's the amazing amount of work our grounds maintenance team has performed on our flower beds, tubs and baskets. In fact, so many residents have informed me it has uplifted their spirits when they come into the borough, and may it continue to do so, may I say. Now then, I'm going to Managing Director. I'm going to have a little word with you too. I want to take this opportunity to ask you to update the official mayoral photo book and bring the Roll of Honour board up to date, as it's a legacy which we're going to be left behind for future generations. It is something that I asked you to do back in 2018, and I would ask you that by the end of my term that will be put right. Right, that's all I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, on that issue. And I'm going on to item 15, which is the Mayor announces the appointment of Mrs. Lorraine Burton as Mayoress. Are you all clapping? I don't know what I'm going to do now.
Deputy Mayor.
Deputy Mayor.
Deputy Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, that's on the other side of this bit of paper, sorry. Item 16, nominations for the appointment of the Deputy Mayor. Councillor Mike Tebbert.
Thank you, James. I hope. Can you turn it off?
Okay, no, you're good.
Okay. Right. We just had a little echo, but we've solved that problem, James. It gives me great pleasure to nominate another former mayor to this office for his final appearance, Councillor Duncan Bain. And I'm sure Duncan will give you all of the support that he's able to during this regrettably final year of Kettering Borough Council.
Councillor Scrimshaw, are you going to second?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pleased to second Councillor Bain to be Deputy Mayor. All councillors will know that he has been Deputy Mayor before, and indeed been Mayor himself. All councillors will also know Councillor Bain is quite a character. And my understanding, when he was Deputy Mayor before, he made a great impact with local residents. So I'm sure he'll replicate that success in the short year ahead, which of course is the last municipal year ever of Kettering Borough Council. So I wish him all the well, and I'm happy to second.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other nominations? It doesn't sound like it. So if there's no further nomination, I will ask the council to resolve to appoint Councillor Duncan Bain as Deputy Mayor for the coming year.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As before, I think it might be easier if councillors could indicate if they are either abstaining or voting against the election of Councillor Bain as Deputy Mayor. Are there any objections? Is there any abstentions?
Councillor Don.
Right, thank you. So that, Councillor Bain, you are appointed as Deputy Mayor until the 31st of March 2021.
Councillor Bain, are you going to read and sign the Declaration of Acceptance, please?
Councillor Bain, you just need to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Can indeed.
All right, thank you very much. Sorry about that. Okay, I, Duncan Bain, accept my appointment as Deputy Mayor to the Borough of Kettering and promise that I will carry out my duties to the best of my judgment and ability. Signing it now. And you can see that all right? We happy with that?
Yep, very happy with that, Duncan. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just say a couple of words to thank Kelly as well for her term in office. And I look forward to supporting you, Jim, in the few months we have left. Let's make it a blast, shall we?
It'll be a little and large, I think, Councillor Bain.
That's right, yes.
Little and large show. I'm looking forward to it, Duncan. Thank you very much for becoming my Deputy Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll countersign that form when it comes back to the office.
Thank you. Would you like to announce your appointment of the Deputy Mayoress? Unmute yourself.
Still muted, Duncan.
Can you hear me now?
That's better, Duncan.
Right, so I don't know what's, I'm on my phone, it's playing up a bit. Yes, I would like to nominate my wife, Carol, Mrs. Bain, as Deputy Mayoress for this term of office.
Thank you, Duncan. Item 22 is I'm going to announce that once again, I am so pleased to have Reverend Walsh as my chaplain. He will be guiding us in this turbulent time at full council, and I'm sure we'll have a few wise words for us at the beginning of each council meeting. Thank you for joining us this evening, Reverend Walsh, and we shall look forward to seeing you at our next full council meeting. Told you I've got a lot of papers here, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to go on to other business, or our main business of the evening. But before we resume the business of this meeting, I would like to say a few words in memory of three people who have all contributed to the work of our borough and have sadly passed away since the last council meeting in February. On the 25th of May, our borough very sadly said goodbye to Terry Freer, the longest serving councillor. Terry was first elected to the council in 1976 and served for 40 years until he retired in February 2016. For many years, he was leader of the council and along with his wife Mary as mayoress, served as a year in civic office as mayor in 1982 to 83. Terry's achievements are far too numerous to mention, but he contributed massively to the success of Kettering Borough over many years, which was reflected in the council awarding him the prestigious title of Honorary Alderman in 2016, a title which had never before been awarded. A month later, on 23rd of June, the Borough Council tragically suffered the loss of a well-respected and valued member of staff, Gavin Ferris, who was a popular member of our development control team and had worked for the council for 4 years, commencing his employment on the 1st of April 2016. On behalf of the council, I would like to extend the council's heartfelt sympathy to his family, friends and colleagues. I would also ask councillors to remember David Talbot, who tragically passed away on the 21st of July of COVID-19. David was a devoted mayor's consort to Councillor Margaret Talbot, whose year in office as mayor was in 2011-2012. David worked tirelessly to support Margaret's mayoral years and charity, and will always be remembered for his hard work supporting a wide range of local causes and organisations, in particular the local guiding and scouting movements, which I know remain very dear to Margaret's heart. Councillors, in these unprecedented times, I would also ask you to remember the people who have died as a result of COVID-19 in our borough since March. On behalf of the council, I would like to extend our sympathy to the families and friends of those who have lost their lives in this pandemic. I would also like to pay tribute once again to the staff of Kettering General Hospital for their dedication in caring for COVID-19 patients. We will now hold a minute's silence before we resume the meeting and invite members of the public viewing on YouTube to join us in remembering Honorary Alderman Terry Freer, Gavin Ferries, David Talbot, and the borough's victims of COVID-19. Thank you, councillors. Thank you for that, councillors. We'll now carry on with item 7, procedure and protocol for virtual meetings of the council. Councillor Rowley.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to propose the procedures and protocols as outlined in the agenda. I don't think they need any further explanation, if I'm honest.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor Thurland, are you seconding?
Yes, I am, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like to say if anyone at any time has got any queries or they're unsure about anything on Zoom prior to their meetings, please let us know and we'll try and get some guidance and help for you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, councillor. Are we got any questions or are we debating this, councillors? Anybody want to say anything?
Can't see any hands, Mr. Mayor.
So no hands are up, so you're all happy with that. And as Councillor Thurland said, you can actually speak to her if you have questions, and I'm sure she'll have all the answers for you. Move on to item 8.
Mr. Mayor, I will know a man who does.
Yes, councillor, we know that. Now then, item 8, Mayor's announcements. I think I've said all I've literally got to say, to be quite honest with you. I do believe our next full council meeting is the 23rd of September at 6 o'clock, yep. Virtually again. So I look forward to seeing you at that particular time, same date, same bat time, same bat date. That's really all I have to say. What on the 23rd, hopefully I'll have more mayor's announcements for you, but at the moment I'm keeping my powder dry, ladies and gentlemen. Leader, have you got anything you'd like to add this evening?
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to say congratulations. It's good to have you back. I've no matters of business that I'd want to bring to this meeting.
Thank you very much for that. Managing Director, would you like to say anything?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just 3 quick things if I could. Firstly, congratulations to yourself on your appointment as Mayor. Maybe a shorter duration, but nonetheless probably one of the most historic, given the circumstances we find ourselves in. Secondly, I just want to place on record my thanks to all the staff at Kettering Borough Council who've done a fantastic job over the last 6 months in very difficult circumstances, and not just the frontline service and sort of delivery people who've had to put themselves in some difficult situations, but also everybody else who works here who's had to adapt to the flexible ways of working and try to keep services going the best that we can. There's going to be some challenges ahead, no doubt, but I think all the staff have risen to the challenge and I'm immensely proud of them. Also thanks to all members who've given us the space and opportunity to deal with the difficult circumstances. We really appreciate that, because without that help and support, the job would have been very difficult. Final thing, Mr. Mayor, is I know this is an annual meeting and it's not normal business, and I don't want to go into normal business. But if I can just raise everyone members' awareness to today's COVID-19 update that we sent out a little earlier this evening. Some quite important context in there around Kettering, Northamptonshire, and what's been going on sort of in the local area in the last few days. So we spent a bit more time on this particular update this week. So hopefully members, if you get the chance to read that, I'd really encourage you to do that. I'm not going to go through it tonight because I don't think it's appropriate in this meeting. But there's some important stuff in there that hopefully you'll find useful. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Managing Director. Item 10, another very important item. Councillor Don. Notification of the Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm proud to announce that Councillor Scrimshaw will continue to lead the opposition until our demise next March. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Don. We don't need a seconder on that. Have I got, is that, no, don't need a seconder. Councillor Scrimshaw, can I just congratulate you on your becoming Leader of the Opposition again. I look forward to the lively debate, which I know will be taking place because you will be there. So congratulations once again.
Thank you very much, Mayor. It's as if you've seen my plans for the next meeting. I look forward to it as well.
Looking forward to it, Councillor. Items 11, 12 and 13s, we're going to take these three to, voted on all together. We're not going to do them individually. So there's the allocation of seats to committees, programme of meetings for the period of 1st of September 2020 to the 31st of March 2021, an appointment of members to committees, subcommittees and forums. Right, anybody want to say anything on that? Are we having it as read?
Mr. Mayor, we also have appointment on outside bodies to add to that list.
Oh.
Number 13.
All right. I'm sorry, I haven't got that on my list here, but it's appointments to outside bodies as well as. Anybody got any comments? It's been revised once. I don't know if there's anybody else who needs it revising again.
Mr. Mayor, can I just, there is a slight error on the allocation of committee seats and that, but between two ladies, Councillor Groom and myself, I'm sure over a cup of coffee somewhere in Burton Latimer, we can come to some agreement. So I look forward to that, Ruth. Thank you.
Councillor Groom's quite happy about that, is she? Yep, that's all right then.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I circulated to all members an update that differs very, very slightly from the original published documentation,
yes,
which include the Labour Group amendments to the committee's list, which were highlighted in yellow, and everyone should have a physical copy of that.
So everybody's happy then?
Think so?
I'm not happy. If you could all turn to page 4, Tenants Forum. Now I know that Councillor Rowley in the past has been the chair, and I presume he is chair again. I would like to be put on the document that he is in fact chair of the Tenants Forum. He hasn't got a proper title. Chair, the forum is a very important part of the borough's workings, and I think it's very important that he has his proper name.
Mr. Mayor, I believe there will be the election of the chair at the very first meeting, which I think is this week.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Right, in that case, before I actually close the meeting, I've got something else to share with you. I'm sure you'll all be very pleased to hear my wise words, because whilst in lockdown, I have spent quite a lot of time on the computer. And may I say it's usually with just one finger, because that's what I do. I can't use both hands. And I've come across several anecdotes And I wish to share two of them with you this evening before I close this meeting. The first one is, if we could spread love as quickly as we spread hate and negativity, what an amazing world we would live in. And the second one is, there are some people who could hear you speak 1,000 words and still not understand you. And there are others who will understand you without you even speaking one word. And I think those are very, very apt, fellow councillors. Thank you for joining us this evening on my first inaugural meeting. I look forward to seeing you all on the 23rd of September. And once again, Councillor Scrimshaw, for a very lively debate. I now bring this meeting to a close. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody. Stay safe.